Since I have joined the bank and since I am traveling this journey of trade unionism since the last 10 years, the reorganization was having these businesses. It was having a background. So I just tried to go deep into the details of why Bank of Baroda is always having a private sector character. Whenever I was reading the speeches, when we were fighting against the privatization agenda, and we are still fighting against the privatization agenda, but when it started regarding the mergers, regarding the privatization, due to the ill-conceived ideas of the rulers with the extreme right-wing agendas and propagations, I was just quoting Bank of Baroda inadvertently in many of my speeches, where I wanted to give an insight and put things into perspective on how a public sector bank should not work. In Toronto, when I was addressing a gathering, I was just quoting Noam Chomsky, who's a famous writer. Normally, we in India don't follow Noam Chomsky, but I also was not following Noam Chomsky, but intermittently I came across this beautiful quoting on how the privatization has to be done. And what is the standardized technique of getting a public sector entity privatized? So he has beautifully written the standard technique of privatization. What is the standard technique of privatization? First it is defund, then make sure things don't work. The third step is people get angry and they invite private capital. So what is defund? Defund is literally, you cut short the capital what you are giving for the industry. If banking is an industry, is a trade, then we definitely need capital. And for the stringent norms laid down by Reserve Bank of India after Sri Raghuram Rajan has taken charge, even after the asset quality review and all the capital adequacy ratios and several stringent restrictions on how a bank should perform, we are literally strapped in by lot of ratios and lot of financial policies where we are required to keep adequate capital for the bank to lend. Otherwise, you will go into PCA. Almost 10 banks pre-amalgamation was in the PCA. You are not in a position to lend. Why you are not in a position to lend? Because you are not having adequate capital. Why you are not having adequate capital, even though you are having a public sector character and you have a stake of almost 60-70% to 90% of government funds? Because it was a part of the government policy to privatize the banks, which started long back. And you don't think that it started from this BJP era? No. Absolutely no. See, this roadmap was in progress since the last 20 years. Even when the BJP government was there, the erstwhile BJP government led by Vajpayee was there, he was having a disinvestment section in the central government. And it was carried forward by the Congress government also. So you don't think that it is restricted to a particular party, but it is the right-wing agenda, the extreme right-wing agenda, what we are going through. That is why we are facing the mergers and we are coming across the propositions for privatizations. Now, I am very happy to see that the privatization is being furthered by a government machinery which has a beautiful name and it's synonymous light, Deepam. You have come across Deepam. Deepam is the government machinery which is going forward with privatization. What a tragic irony it is. Because we are lighting the lamp, we are doing all these conferences in the trade union and in the trade union fabric, we are trying to get our space, we are trying to bring more membership, we are trying to fight against privatization, and we are saying that we are trying to throw some light. And ultimately, Deepam, the synonym of light, is sitting there and chalking out plans, hatching their conspiracies to sell these public sector banks or public sector entities to private capital. So coming to the quote of Noam Chomsky, we were struggling for funds since the last 8-9 years. The public sector banks are not given enough capital. So obviously you must ask me, what was the capital that was given to us since the last 8 years? So you should have some statistics, right? If I'm telling something. Since the last 8 years, from 2014, the public sector banks were given almost 2 lakh crores from the public exchequer. That is the news what we see, or from the budget propositions. But I must correct myself that 2 lakh crore was never from the public exchequer or the public funds, taxpayers money. जो commonly बोलता है कि जो हमको दे रहा है, that is the taxpayers money. But it is not the taxpayers money. They were just they were just trying to collect this money from bonds, several bonds, from the depositors of the bank itself. And it was never from the public exchequer. Okay, leave it. So we have got 2 lakh crore. Then why you are saying that you have not got the funds? Now the question is, in the banking sector, with a huge public sector space in the country, what should be the funds that has to flow into the public sector banks? And as compared to the other capitalistic country like Japan, UK, USA or whatsoever, you name any country in the world. I must tell you one small example. In 2008, when the world was hit by the economic crisis, everywhere the countries were running behind the public sector banks or the other banks to bail them out, because all the banks were ultimately failing. So the question was, whether the banks, let it be in the private hands or let it be with a public attire, whether the bank has to be saved with public money. That is the $1 million question being asked by everyone, no? When we are going to the public, saying that, see, please save our public sector character, don't privatize Bank of Baroda, don't privatize Union Bank of India. Then the public is asking, so why we are feeding you? Why we should feed you? That is the question. So the next question, the counter question is, if we are not fed, whether you will sustain with the private sector banks, and if a crisis hits you, whether the government can be a mute spectator letting the banks fail. The answer is no. Why? Because in any industry, the capital or the business input comes from the profit. Only in the banking industry you can have a limited capital, but you can lend thousands of crores and get the interest money, income, and can make profit. So from where this amount comes from? See, you just see the balance sheet of Bank of Baroda Officers Association. Whether you can spend more than what you earn? No. You cannot spend, you cannot put anything in business, because even though it is not a profit balance sheet, profit and loss balance sheet, it is an income and expenditure balance sheet. I must tell you one thing very clearly, in banks, we are at our disposal so many public funds that has been deposited by the public. That is being taken and being lent out to the corporates or whatsoever sectors. So ultimately, even if you are not having adequate capital, keep aside the restrictions imposed by the Reserve Bank of India, you can lend if you have deposits. Since the last so many decades, we are taught in the economic classes that the basic banking is to accept deposits and lend. So if you accept deposits from the customers, you can lend. So ultimately, if a bank fails, then it is the bounded duty of the government to bail out the public sector banks, or else there will be arrogance in the country, just like what Sri Lanka is facing now. The public will come to the streets and will manhandle the politicians and the bureaucrats, because it is the public fund. Now when we are saying that we have got 2 lakh crore since the last 8 years for the public sector banks, the $1 million question is, what UK has spent for bailing out the private banks which was failing in 2008-2009 economic crisis? It was almost 65 billion euros. 65 billion euros. It will come to almost 200 lakh crore Indian rupee. The amount spent by UK government to bail out one bank in UK during the 2009 crisis was almost 8 lakh crore. Here in this public sector attire where we are having 12 public sector banks post amalgamation, if you take the entire public fund that has been infused by the central government as capital in the public sector fabric of the country, of the banking industry, then it is just 2 lakh crore. So you cannot say that we have got adequate funds. Why? It was a technique of privatization. Defund. You make sure that the people are not getting the funds. See, we were asked to go to the market, get the funds. We were asked to go to the market and get the funds. Whenever we were going to the government, they were not giving us funds. Am I correct? They were not giving us funds. It was not a coincidence. It cannot be a mere coincidence, but it was a script that was scripted long back to give this bank to the private capital. So when I am addressing this Bank of Baroda's conference, if something has happened, if something would have happened in 2016-17, then I would have been a part of Bank of Baroda. And I would have been, most probably Tavasta would have nominated me as some trade union leader, giving some charges in your federation. So you'll be wondering why Srinath Indrajudan is saying that he would have been a part of Bank of Baroda. So I was just mentioning this thing in the regional conference what I have attended in Trivandrum. Anybody have any idea that Mr. Jayakumar, your previous MD, has mooted a proposal to merge Bank of Baroda with Union Bank of India? Anyone sitting here, you know the background of this proposal? Please raise your hands. Okay, the senior most person sitting there, he is aware. So any other person? See, in 2016-17, Mr. Jayakumar, the then MD of Bank of Baroda, has passed a proposal in his board meeting that we are ready to acquire Union Bank of India. And Mr. Arun Tiwari, who was leading the discussions in Gyan Sangam 2, he passed a resolution in his last board meeting where he was quitting Union Bank of India. That we are ready to get amalgamation. See, I was also part of that negotiation when I went to central office. We were given a stamp paper to sign. We are ready to accept the proposals of the central government if we are not able to turn around the bank. So it was also a scripted agenda of this amalgamation process. And in 2016, one Mr. Rajkiran Roy from Oriental Bank of Commerce was designated as the MD of Union Bank of India with a mandate to merge Union Bank of India into Bank of Baroda. So in this particular project, the code name of Union Bank of India was ZEN. Z-E-N. Because it was a very fragile subject, in a public sector ecosystem, when you are proposing a merger of two major public sector banks at that point of time, then it is going to shook the conscience of the society. You don't know how the trade unions will react. You don't know how the market will react. So it was very fragile. So this proposal was mooted very silently. Just like the amalgamation, when Nirmala Sitharaman, the Honorable Finance Minister, had declared the amalgamation before the press, that particular day all the MDs were called on for a meeting in Delhi. And just half an hour before they were briefed that you are going to get amalgamated each other. So likewise, this proposal was also very candid and in a very low profile manner they were mooting this proposal. And ultimately, Rajkiran Rai joined Union Bank of India as the MD with a mandate to merge Union Bank of India with Bank of Baroda. See, I am just trying to tell you the myopic vision. Or whatsoever you are calling them, let it be Niti Ayog, let it be Deepam, or let it be any other stakeholders in this particular public sector ecosystem of the banks. I am just trying to show you the myopic vision of the policy makers when they have proposed and accepted the merger of Union Bank of India with Bank of Baroda, and ultimately it has not happened. Why it has not happened? Rajkiran Rai started a war room in Oriental Bank of Commerce, ED chamber, and he started taking the balance sheet, analyzing the balance sheet of Bank of Baroda and Union Bank of India. Since the last 6 months, he was analyzing it, and in June, he came out with a presentation to the GMs and other executives of Bank of Baroda and Union Bank of India in presence of Mr. Jaykumar. See, the fact was, at that point of time, the tangible PCR, the provision coverage ratio of Bank of Baroda was almost 75-80. But Union Bank of India was having less than 50 tangible PCR. And almost 25,000 crore NPAs were lying behind the carpet, lying beneath the carpet in Union Bank of India. Because Union Bank of India were concealing the NPAs since the last 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. They were not classifying, we were not classifying NPAs properly because it was all run by Arun Tiwari. So if you see the corporate exposure where the consortium financing has given funds to the corporates, both from Bank of Baroda and Union Bank of India. Union Bank of India was maintaining the assets as a performing asset, but in Bank of Baroda it was in the non-performing asset books. So ultimately, he figured out a fact that if Union Bank of India is getting amalgamated into Bank of Baroda in the next 10-15 years, this bank will never come out of loss. Because the total provisioning funds required was almost 15,000 to 16,000 crores. And he could have flowed back almost 6,000, 7,000 from the operating profit, not more than that. So what he has done, he has asked public sector bank, the finance ministry, DFS, he was asked for additional funding, capital of 3,500 crores. When they were asked for money, they told that, okay, you don't amalgamate. Because they were not in a position, because they never wanted to invest in public sector banks. Because we have a very clear agenda that government has no business being in business. And they just don't want to continue with the public sector banks. So ultimately, why I should invest rupees 3,500 crores again? So they backed out from the proposal. See the myopic vision of the policy makers when the government, when the Niti Aayog, everybody accepted this proposal. The two bank boards passed resolution that we are going to merge and amalgamate, and ultimately a person who has just analyzed the balance sheet, churned the data, has come out with a presentation and has convinced the entire system that if you do this, then you are dooming two public sector banks in the country. So I must tell you, just see the myopic vision of the policy makers who have merged the public sector banks, who are going to privatize the public sector banks. This is the pathetic situation what we are going through. Now you don't have money, then what you have to do? Then you just make sure things don't work. You are not giving banks money. Then you just, the next step is make sure things don't work. How you are making sure that the things don't work? The basic concept of banking is to accept deposits and lend. You only have told me, just now. What is the basic character of banks? We have to accept deposits and lend. But now whether we are doing that? Now we are not doing that. In a public sector bank or in the banking ecosystem, we are sitting there making sure that our toilets are clean, implementing Swachh Bharat, inviting the people to seed the Aadhaar, to take Aadhaar, to sell insurance products, to get the mutual funds done, and to sell the LIC. See, what not we are selling here. We should be very proud that we are selling LIC, we are selling insurance, we are selling mutual funds. Then any product you name in the world, we are ready here to sell. But we are not lending, we are not accepting deposits. We are departing from the basic character of banking. So when a customer comes to you for accepting his deposits or to lend, then what is the reply what he is getting from your bank or our bank? Sir, branch manager nahi hai. Kahan gaya? Sir, wo insurance बेचने के लिए है. He has gone to sell insurance. We will be running 100 campaigns. We are not focused. Why we are not focused? On a single day, we will put 4 campaigns. What are the 4 campaigns? 1, CASA campaign. We should accept more current account than savings account deposits. And in the evening we will run the insurance campaign. So morning we will accept the CASA and evening we will push all these CASA into mutual funds. So our CASA is gone. So your two campaigns are set off. Morning we will start our credit campaign where we will be trying to sell more and more of our products. Mudra loan, this priority sector loans. And in the evening we will come out with a stress buster campaign where we will be forced to chase the customers and bring back the money. Then what will be the morale of the officers who are selling the loan products? Because they will be thinking that why I should sell here? Because morning I have to sell, evening what I have to do, you have to take back all the amount. So ultimately fearing of the non-performing assets, the risk appetite of the bankers are totally lost. Now we are not having any risk appetite. So ultimately they have made sure that the things don't work. Now you go to the streets, ask for the support of the public to save the public sector character, they will chase you away. They will show you the back door and they will say that you are the bloody public sector bankers who are eating away the taxpayers' money and we are not supporting you. You just go to the private capital. This is the pathetic situation what we are facing. That is known as opinion building. From the last 8 years, there was a huge opinion that was built, that was campaigned. A propaganda was propagated across the country that the public sector bankers are not worth. Recently, you have seen the statement of a responsible person in Tamil Nadu, right? All the good people are sitting in private sector banks and we are running the public sector banks with laggards. I must tell you that you just see where Chanda Kochar is. If all the beautiful people who are the bankers, who are the economists, stalwarts, are in private sector banks, you just give me a reply, where is Mrs. Chanda Kochar? See, Chanda Kochar, you know, in the Videocon fraud, in ICICI Bank has given crores of loans to the corporates. So how they have given this loan? Actually, CBI started inquiry and CBI started taking the name of the directors of the companies who have taken loan from ICICI in the subsidiaries of Videocon. And it was all mooted by Chanda Kochar. Ultimately, where they have ended in the house which is very poor. It was a hut and one person came out, sir, you are the director of this particular company, sir, it is a subsidiary of I have not seen that company also. I was a gardener working in Videocon's MD's house. So, in the name of the gardener, in the name of the maid, cook, driver, chauffeur, they have floated companies and they have siphoned off huge money from ICICI Bank. And now ultimately, all these dubious scam what the country has ever seen in the IPO purchase. You see, after 3-4 years or 5 years, 6 years down the lane, you will hear another news, just like the 5G scam, 4G scam. This was the most dubious scam the country has ever witnessed in the IPO sale. I am not going into the details, because I was just going through the documents. When the people were purchasing shares from the bank, your bank were selling, no, you were designated this ASPA branch, no. So when you were selling these IPOs, the shares, for the amount that was opened in the market, the people were busy buying shares in 5% and 10% discounts from somewhere else. So this is the pathetic situation. So coming back to the thing what I was telling, ultimately the things have not worked. Now the only thing remaining is to invite the private capital. The ground is all set. Anytime they can invite the private capital, and please don't think that Bank of Baroda is safe, Union Bank of India is safe. No. Ultimately you need buyers. So we don't know what is the intent of our owners, the government, what they intend to do, because if they don't get buyers for unhealthy banks, there are all probabilities that they will start selling the healthy banks. Healthy banks like Punjab National Bank, Union Bank, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, these are all the robust, healthy banks with a good balance sheet now, stable balance sheet. So, none of us are safe until every one of us is safe. So please don't go behind. In any point of time, you should not go back from the campaign Bank Bachao Desh Bachao. It is the ultimate campaign that has been hosted by All India Bank Officers Confederation. When we were touring the country from Kolkata to Delhi and from Mumbai to Delhi, the PMO was busy collecting the details of All India Bank Officers Confederation. And the political character of All India Bank Officers Confederation, they just wanted to know what is the political character of All India Bank Officers Confederation. I had got several calls from the IB, Intelligence Bureau, and the other shadow police and all, asking me, when are you travelling from Kerala to Delhi? I said, sir, it is not possible to hire a bus and travel like that. We are also moving to Delhi, Jantar Mandar, for this protest program, but I am not having any bus or anything. And ultimately the question was, who is Mr. Soumya Datta? The PMO was asking, who is Mr. Soumya Datta? So if this Bank Bachao Desh Bachao campaign would have shook the conscience of the policy makers, then it is our bounden responsibility to make sure that this campaign sustain and struggle. So my humble submission to each and every one of you, this was the backdrop that I was relying upon to just communicate with you, to request you why we have to subscribe to the Facebook page of Bank Bachao Desh Bachao. See, we have a Facebook page. Now I think almost 100 people are sitting here. If you help me, then we can reach 1 lakh people. 1 lakh. You know how? See, how many of you have mobile phones handy with you? Please take your mobile phones, please. All of you, please take your mobile phones. So give me some noise so that I can also get a cue that what my audience is doing. So whether you have taken the mobile phones?
Yes.
Thank you. So now you just go to the Play Store, Google Play Store. This iPhone, the privileged class who are having iPhone, please don't follow me. The underprivileged people who are still with Android can follow me. You go to Play Store, Google Play Store, and you type Facebook Lite, L-I-T-E. Facebook Lite, Android. Apple. Good. Privileged class. See, I too have an Apple phone with me. So whether you have got the Facebook Lite, click install. See, it is very important to have a public space. And we cannot search out for public space because we are the white collar trade union leaders. No. There is a huge apprehension among our cadre that how we will go to the streets, walk along with the flags, how we will shout slogans. Okay, the people who are shying off from doing all these things, they can just sit here and they can be a part of this campaign. It is a wonderful opportunity, an offer I am giving you. So once you have installed the Facebook Lite, you just scroll to that particular icon, or from there itself you can click open. Open it. Are you into the Facebook Lite? So whether the Facebook Lite has fetched your account, automatically it will fetch. You can select your account. So now you are in the Facebook Lite and in your account. Can you see the search button on the top? On the top you can just have the search button, the magnifying lens. Just click there and type BANK, bank. Inside the Facebook Lite, your account, on top of your mobile screen, you can just see a magnifying glass. There you can type BANK space BACHAO, Bank Bachao. Now you can see one Facebook page with 1.49, 1.5 lakh likes. Just get into that Facebook page. Just click there, you will get into the Facebook page. Anybody left behind? Anybody sitting here has left behind? Not able to find the Bank Bachao Desh Bachao page? Anybody sitting here? No, can I take it that everybody is in that Bank Bachao Desh Bachao page? Now you can see about photos, and just you scroll left side, you can see a community tab. You will just see about photos and all there. You can scroll to the left and you can see a community tab. You just click the community tab, you will have an option invite friends. Community tab. See why Facebook, the original architecture of Facebook is not permitting this thing. The original architecture of Facebook, in the normal Facebook account, you cannot select all the friends. You can handpick the friends. So it will take more time to do this. In Facebook Lite, the architecture gives you the permission to select in one click. You click the invite friends, in the rightmost side you can have a radio button where if you are clicking, all your friends will be selected. All your friends. Whether you have selected, and click invite. Now you are a part of Bank Bachao Desh Bachao campaign. This is the best thing what you can do, please. Have a huge round of applause. See, we have to communicate with the society. We have a beautiful character which is known as apolitical character. What is the apolitical character of All India Bank Officers Confederation? You know that. See, the apolitical character of All India Bank Officers Confederation is in such a way that we give a platform for each and everyone to be vocal. We are not discriminating anybody based on their caste, creed, religion, color, the color of their flag, their political ideologies. We embrace communists, we embrace Congress people, we embrace the BJP's followers, we embrace everyone, and we give a platform for each and everyone to speak. And ultimately, we have a conscious opinion and we have a strong conviction that we are not running a political party and we are not campaigning for any votes, but we are trying to run a trade union where we are trying to protect the trade who are in this trade, who are the real breadwinners. See, in 2020-21, the Reserve Bank of India has given a dividend of almost 69,000 crores. In the financial year 2021-22, the Reserve Bank of India and the public sector bank has given a dividend of almost 40,000 crores to the central government. It is the dividend, it is the hard-earned money what we have reaped as profits. And it is the sweat and blood of each and everyone sitting here who has taken the Bank of Baroda, Union Bank of India and all the public sector banks and State Bank of India to profits. And it is not the people who are sitting in AC cabins giving the verdicts from the board. It is the laymen, it is the grassroots level employees. It is us who were struggling in the field, who are still struggling in the field. Still, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman is not that audacious to ignore the contribution of the bankers. We have seen how she has responded to the person who are calling us laggards, you know. She told that in COVID time, the bankers have gone to the society and has given them funds and has ensured that the banking is not pulling down the shutters. We have kept the economy moving. So at least on that particular note, our Honorable Finance Minister accept us and embrace our contributions. That is the great thing what we can cherish. So now, moving on to the speech. Ultimately, why we should have a trade union movement? I was just discussing, I usually discuss things with Sajeev. He calls me and he discusses the things in Bank of Baroda. So I know a little bit about Bank of Baroda and the association, what we are functioning here. How we are functioning here. See, we will all be through a struggling phase, I am telling you. I will just tell you, I was just discussing Today morning I was discussing with Tabasya. You don't think that everybody will be enjoying the fruits from the initial days. Everybody will be struggling at some point of time. Take it in such a way that now the Bank of Baroda Officers Association is struggling. But don't sit idle. It is my humble request. Deliberating things to the common members. I am deliberating things to the leaders who are sitting in this August gathering. So I must be responsible and mature to communicate in that way. That is the reason why I am not mincing my words. I am bluntly, openly telling you that yes, we are struggling. We will not be struggling in the days to come. See, you know what has happened in my federation? Through brutal political force, 4,700 members were taken away from us to BMS. On a fine morning, we were literally embarrassed, wondered, perplexed, what to do. And at some corners and at some particular pockets, we were losing the majority. Since the institution of All India Union Bank Officers Federation, we are with All India Bank Officers Confederation, and we proudly cherish and always preach everywhere that we are the Majority Officers Association across the country, and in all the forums, we are representing the Union Bank employees. But at this juncture, we were literally struggling that we were losing majority in the pockets. Till that time, we were sitting on top of the privileged class, being the majority. At that point of time, we started feeling the pain of what will happen to you when you become a minority. From there, we started working. We went there, we sat there. See, I will tell you, myself and the General Secretary went to Jaipur and was staying in a hotel for 5 days, and when on the 5th day we were about to leave the hotel, we were going to the bathroom just to get a bath. We both were looking each other and was wondering, and we were just telling to ourselves, we have not changed the clothes since we have come. For 5 days, we have not taken bath. We were just mechanically taking food, something they used to give us. And we were not enjoying anything. We were just indulged into this particular thing only, how to get back the majority. And we have done the hurdle meetings. We called all the leaders of that particular state, because just like Bank of Baroda, we are also having a federal structure. What is the beauty of federal structure, you know? The beauty of federal structure is that we accommodate everybody and we accept everyone, and we can design the principles of trade unions as we want and as it suits the geographical ecosystem. In Mangalore, you can devise the trade union, you can go with the activities as you want. I think you are enjoying the funds also there here, no? In the federal structure. So ultimately you are at disposal of the members' money. In Kerala, nobody can command me or nobody can dictate terms to me what I have to do here. I am into almost all the engagement, almost all the employment engagement initiatives, leadership programs. So when we have a federal structure, we have a definite inlying weakness also. It is an inherent weakness in the system. You cannot depend on the federation leader for each and everything. And the federation leader has a very limited role. He has the role in negotiating with the central management, discussing with the central management, devising the policies, and to see whether there is any policy violation in the decisions that is happening from central office. The federation cannot intervene in the local level. Here we have to deal with things. In the last 8 years, I am very proud that since 2015, I have taken over the Kerala State as the General Secretary of Union Bank Officers Association, Kerala State. Not a single time I have called my All India General Secretary for his intervention in any of my issues. I was calling Dharna. I was signing this strike notice. I remember a 28-year-old boy who signed this strike notice, which was an illegal strike. I don't know what Vijayaban at that point of time has endured. In the Mohan's case, it was central. I was having a federal structure, and the central federation told that we cannot sign because I am a registered trade union. I was the person who have signed the strike notice, understanding the consequence that anything can happen to me and my comrades, because I am giving a short notice strike with a notice period of almost 13 hours. It was a strike out of the emotions. Because we never expected that our president will be ousted from the bank. But we have done this strike. We made sure that none of the branches in Kerala was opening. We have closed down the training system also in Alva that day. Because we were emotional. So I am just trying to communicate to my leaders sitting over here that you please be emotional and professional in this trade union approach. Because you embrace change, you just don't sit idle and think that we will be getting everything. We will not be getting anything if we are sitting idle. We will be facing our natural death. So my humble request to each and every one of you, please communicate to each and every member. I know how vibrant the Kerala unit is. My message is to the entire Bank of Baroda Officers Federation. We are ready to come to the field, join hands with you to get the membership back. And we have a vision, we should have a vision that Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Association should be the majority within another 3 years. Should be the majority. See, there should be some responsible people to see that the officers, the employees, our members are not discriminated, not dispossessed. They are not having a pervasive treatment in the workplace. They are having a severe treatment in the workplace. Here you know what has happened with one lady in Bank of Baroda. I was thinking that I will not go into that topic because I had several discussions with the leaders here. See, it was a black day for All India Bank Officers Confederation in Kerala. It was a black day. Humiliating a lady, outraging the modesty of a woman, it is intolerable. Intolerable. And today also, she is undergoing the disciplinary proceedings, inquiry, and the leadership of Bank of Baroda. I know I respect Tavasda, Varshini sir, because they are very matured. They have seen in and out of this trade union movement. So taking advice from them, we are sitting idle. I have told Sajid yesterday, it will not be a big task for us in All India Bank Officers Confederation Kerala sector to kharav this office and make sure that this office is not functioning for a day. It is not $1 million task for us. When we have flooded Thrissur, it is not a big deal for us to make sure that a public sector bank is not functioning. We have made sure that the CSP bank with almost 800 members, officer members, and with 1,500 C2C employees, because they have enough manpower to open the branches. They can deploy each branch with 2 C2C employees. But still we have closed down almost 180 branches in Kerala, 180 branches. It is not a big task for us. We are waiting. This should be the message to the management. If you are irritating us and if you are really trying to experiment with our patients, then we will not be having that cool attire that okay, we will sustain and survive with everything what you are doing. This is the Makkah of trade union movement Kerala, and we have always made sure that our members are not ill-treated in any of the banks. And we will never allow any ill treatment to the banks. The All India Bank Officers Confederation has filed a complaint. See, it was not just like we were following it up. We have just taken a low profile, a candid movement. Every time, in these also, we have not followed it up. Otherwise, we would have made sure that an FIR is filed. If an FIR is filed, definitely it will be a cognizable offence and a non-bailable offence, and all the 3 persons responsible would have been arrested. But we have not done that because we have taken a mature stand here. And still we are waiting with that maturity and patience what is going to happen in this particular case. In Kerala, the Human Rights Commission has intervened and they have given their drastic comments. They have come heavily upon the management of public sector banks and private sector banks here, just asking them whether all the human rights of the bankers are violated here. And they have asked the government to intervene and to make sure that a safe and peaceful working environment is prevailing in the banking sector, in at least in Kerala. We are trying our level best to bring banking and insurance companies under the purview of Shops and Establishments Act. If we are having that privilege, we have mooted the proposal. We have given a request to the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister. We are trying through the Chief Secretary, and we are trying to link this Human Rights Commission case also along with this thing, and we are trying to moot a proposal for an amendment in the Kerala Shops and Establishments Act, because it is a state subject. Tamil Nadu is having that privilege, Bombay is having that privilege, because Bombay, the banks and insurance companies are coming under the Shops and Establishments Act. State government has a say. We have to display the working hours in front of the premises, and if we are working more than 8 hours, they have to give additional amounts over time. So we have a lot of privileges. So we are trying to intervene in each and every possible forums for the benefit of the officers community. I am very sure that Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Association and the Bank of Baroda Officers Association Ernakulam zone will also be very much prudent enough in understanding the fact that ultimately it is for us to fight for us. Nobody will come to fight for us. We are all alone in this ecosystem, in this movement to fight for the public sector character, to fight for our existence and survival. Humble request to each and every one of you is you communicate this message to each and every one of you meet. You just make sure that at least a day you take 2 mobile phones and invite friends for this Bank Bachao Desh Bachao, because if we grow in that page, we will have a huge public space in social media platform and in the multimedia environment. It is the real world, no? It is the virtual world what we are enjoying now. These are all just models. So there we can communicate with the people, and when we are communicating in social media, when it is becoming a news, then only the government will be giving their ears to us. So let us work together, have a cordial atmosphere here. On behalf of All India Bank Officers Confederation, I extend a warm greetings to each and every one of you sitting here. I would like to sign off with a small story. I generally do this wherever I can. This is a different story, what I would like to share with you. See, once there lived a saint. Saint was gaining the popularity that he was predicting future. We are not least bothered about the present, because it is a human character. We are least bothered about the present. We are least bothered about what has happened with us. We never travel back to our roots just to see from where we have come from, what is our existence. We are all worried about the future only. And hence, this saint was gaining popularity because he was a man who was a stalwart in predicting the future. So he started gaining popularity, and thousands of people started coming from nearby villages also to him to know what is going to happen with them. Once, a small child, a small kid, he was a very naughty kid from a village. He thought that I have to expose this saint, Baba. I just want to get to him in front of all these people, his followers, his admirers. I have to expose him. And so he started his journey towards the saint's ashram. It was 3-4 villages ahead. So in his journey, he caught a small butterfly in his hand and he went to the ashram. So as he was expecting, there was thousands of people standing there to meet Swamiji. So when Swamiji saw the small kid, he was also curious to know why he has come to me. So he called this kid and asked him, "Beta, what do you want to know?" So he raised his hand and his wrist, and he asked him, "Baba, I have a butterfly in my hand. I just want to know whether this butterfly will live or die. Baba was a very uh, experienced person. No, see, he also know what he is up to. It was a very ticklish question. It was a very dicey situation for Swamiji. Swamiji thought for a while, and you know what Swamiji has replied? See, if Swamiji is replying that this butterfly will leave, then this kid will squash this butterfly in his hand and just will open the wrist and show him that no, Baba, you are wrong. Mar gaya. And if Swamiji is saying that the butterfly will die, then he will just release his hand and the butterfly will be free forever. There also he will prove Swamiji wrong. So this was the ticklish situation what Swamiji was facing. Swamiji gave him a very prudent answer. He told the kid that, Beta, the life of the butterfly is all in your hands. The life of the butterfly is all in your hands. So when I sign off from this inaugural speech, I also would like to tell you only one thing. It is not a philosophy or it is not a preaching. It is just my emotions, what I would like to convey. The life of Bank of Baroda Officers Association, the life of Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Association, the life of All India Bank Officers Confederation, and the trade union movement in the banking industry. It is all in your hands. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. As a token of our gratitude, we would like to present sir with a memento. Thank you once again, sir. A passionate leader always sees opportunity in adversity. He recognizes that failure is part of success and embraces the challenges. He is future focused and has the capacity to engage others to realize their goals. And today we have amongst us one such great leader as our guest of honor. Friends, please welcome Sajeev.K sir for the guest of honor.
Live.
Comrade Srinath ji, Menon ji, Tapas ji, Shibu ji, Sajeev, Vino, Sajin, Shakti, Ramesh, Vishnu, and Madam Adesha, and all the comrades sitting here. It is actually very difficult when the speaker of the kind of Srinath has already spoken and continuing. The tempo is to be continued by the following speakers. Anyway, I will try to perform my duty, being the guest of honor here. I had brought the water also. I may not drink it, but I don't want anybody of the stature of Nirmala Sitaraman delivering to me when I call her. Recently, there was a clip. I think the stature of director was delivering a speech in Vigyan Loan or somewhere. And she demanded water. I think if it came a little bit late, So Madam Nirmala Sitharaman got her from workplace and delivered the water to that lady. And that clip actually became viral. However, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman is, even among the bankers, it was viral, forgetting everything behind what she has done to the bank. Anyway, and Comrade Srinath has already spoken a lot about, I would say, a lot for the movement. It's not a lot, but at least he has explained all the mechanizations behind the amalgamation, etc., etc. And why we have to be making the trade union movement stronger, why we have to be following Desh Bachao, Bank Bachao. Friends, I feel very much proud to be standing here as a part of Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Associations. And I congratulate all of you, the Ernakulam unit, for holding the first general body conference for the, perhaps I would call it 22-25, because we are also going to hold, because this is the third zone which is holding the conference for the ensuing body of the Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Associations. This is my first visit to Ernakulam. When I had a few opportunities earlier since 2013, when I was nominated as the Vice President of All India Bank, All India Vijaya Bank Officers Association, when it was Vijaya Bank. But I could not make it, but this time the unit, especially my friend Menon was so passionately insisting. Because nowadays moving around is also a difficulty. Being in Bank of Baroda, you would know all. But somehow I managed. I thank the unit very much for inviting me here. I would also like to congratulate the workforce present here as the officers of the Bank of Baroda, who have worked so hard that our bank has shown profits again. MD and CEO sir, Chadha sir, spoken to press that we have gone slow on the corporate loans, have pushed retail by going it to the 18%, have doubled the personal loans. The most important thing is that we have provided much more than required on a few stressed assets, so that the future balance sheet of Bank of Baroda remains stronger. What is this exactly? Is Comrade Srinath has already explained to you in detail, whether this is to make future balance sheet stronger or make the present bank weaker. I will not go into those details. What troubles us is a very simple thing. How is the workforce being treated at present? What troubles me or a person like me is that our branch heads are under stress. In unreasonable targets, login days, no leave, working on Sundays, though they pay, but whether anybody would like to see his rest day for the sake of money, I don't think so. And because of this undue heavy price, forced to overlook the 4 I's principles, what they call it, and also the zero tolerance areas for the accountability. How the management is like a father and son. When father says, son, be careful where you walk. And son responds, you be careful because I am following your footsteps. And actually, for the real growth of any banking industry, both the management and trade union purpose must be telling each other the same thing. But ironically, this is always one-way traffic. Management tells the branch heads, workforce, trade union, you be careful where you walk. Workforce cannot tell the management back that, look, you be careful because I am following your footsteps. It's just now, Shinaji has briefed about the CASA and mutual fund. Here I like to draw an analogy between CASA and mutual fund with the corporation management in the Bombay locals. In Bombay, whoever has worked for, not worked for their benefit, there are two types of local trains, slow and fast. This is not regarding their speed. Slow train stops on all the stations. Fast train skips 3/4 numbers of the stations, thus saving a lot of time. A poor passenger intending to alight at a non-scheduled station takes a fast train and tells his intention to his fellow passengers. They informed him this would not stop there, and he was worried, but here is a cooperation. They said, don't worry, we'll put you on the platform, and after hitting the platform, you run in the direction of the train, so that you do not fall. The train slowed down for the sake of this story, and those 4 pairs of hands put him on the platform. This poor passenger started running in the forward direction. Let's consider this management as Bank of Baroda management pushing for CASA, and this manager is running on the platform trying to canvass CASA. But the same trains, the last coach, another management is there who are looking at this passenger running on the platform, and they understood this poor chap wants to catch this train because it does not know that it does not stop here. So 4 pairs of hands come from the last coach and took him back on the train. These are wealth management executives, the mutual fund canvas people. This is the story what Shinaji tried to convey to you. So I have always a perplexed lot what to do during the day. In such an atmosphere, we look towards the union, that something is to be done. And that is why trade union movement should never die. It was about 20 years back. There were evil forces working overtime to decimate the trade unions. Tapasra, I all used to discuss what would happen next. Then our mentors used to tell the same situation was even 20 years back. So my dear friends, there would always be evil forces, managements favorite people who would try to crush the trade union movement. But the fact is, they would always keep on doing the same thing, and we will always keep on resisting it, standing just like the rock. I would request all of you to keep on making the trade union movement stronger, and then the Federation of the Bank of Baroda Officers Association is stronger, and of course it has to start from the Bank of Baroda Officers Association's Ernakulam unit making it strong. While I thank the Ernakulam unit office bearers for inviting me to this conference, I am really thankful for the hospitality extended by them, and I am really happy to have visited this beautiful twin cities. I thank you all also for hearing me patiently. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We would also like to present Vashni sir with a memento as a token of our love and affection. The epitome of simplicity incarnates itself and devotes heart and soul to the promotion of the material and spiritual welfare of our organization. He keeps going no matter how difficult the task is, and has proved that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Amidst all his busy schedules, Sri Tapas Kumar Ghosh has adorned this function today. Having with us today, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite our Vasda, General Secretary FPOPOA, to the keynote address.
Good afternoon. Comrade Srinath, Working President of All India Union Bank Officers Federation and State Secretary of AIBOC Kerala State Unit, and also a senior leader, senior not in age but senior in order of his contribution and credibility to the movement of the Confederation, national leader Srinath, my co-office bearers in the central office, Sajeev.K, Chairman of FPOPOA, Senior Vice President Sri Kumar Menanji, leaders of Ernakulam Zone, Comrade Sajeev, General Secretary, outgoing President Shibu DS, G, Vinu Mohan Ji, District Secretary of AIBOC Ernakulam, Regional Secretaries Jishnu, Ramesh, Shakti, Sajeev, and regional office bearers and zonal office bearers, I am not naming individually, AGM Suresh sir, and all my dear comrade members of mighty BOBOA Ernakulam zone affiliated to APOBOA and AIBOC. Friends, today is a great day. You have been holding your first general body of the Ernakulam zone, and it is the third in the order. Earlier we had the opportunities of holding the general bodies in Hyderabad and Baroda, and today is the third, Ernakulam. In fact, your organization took the initiative of holding all the regional general bodies, even though because of the prevailing Corona situation, you could not hold the meetings in physical mode, but there were huge presence of the members in all the regional general bodies of Ernakulam zone, Trivandrum, then Thrissur, Kochi, as well as Kozhikode, and all these meetings were successfully held. I had the opportunity of addressing you in all the four, I believe in all the four general bodies in virtual mode, and I was pretty sure that your zonal unit, as Srinathji has rightly told, is one of the vibrant organizations, vibrant association of the Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Associations. You have really shown, Srinathji was referring to the federal character of our organization, APOBOA in AIBOC. Many of the members had earlier not experienced what exactly the federal character is. Srinath has detailed to you, before you, what are the advantages of the federal type of organization. And it is more so, let me emphasize to before you, it is more so in our bank, that is Bank of Baroda. Because almost all decisions, particularly at HR level, and also in the disciplinary matters, there are advantages and disadvantages. I am coming later on those issues. But every zonal HR is taking their decisions. In fact, not only in HR, even in all other functions also, the directives of circulars generally come from BCC office, but ultimately implementation part of it, including the transfers, everything is happening at the zonal level. So there is strong requirement that zonal unit and the regional units should become strong. I have got no hesitation to say that in Kerala, you have proved that, and almost the regional units and zonal unit have handled almost all the issues pertaining to the staff at the level of theirs. including the last IZT, interzonal transfer, which has happened after a period of almost 1 year because of the COVID situation, and prior to that also because of amalgamation, interzonal transfer has not happened. And the last interzonal transfer have been handled very carefully and very efficiently by all of you, by your leadership. From the federation level, last time also, and this time also, what we have been trying to emphasize is that, see, first of all, as rightly pointed out, in your literature about the 6 years transfer policy that we have opposed tooth and nail at every forum, not only by way of letters and memorandums, but wherever we have got the opportunity of meeting the top brass, including the last MD, Jayakumar ji, and also Devdatta Chand and Jaideep Dattroy, wherever we have got the scope, we have shown our resentment against the 6 years transfer policy. For the simple reason, because a person who is removed on longest stay or administrative ground, say from Kerala to other parts of the country, he or she will not be in a position to come back before the completion of 6 years, which is not prevalent in any bank in the industry, including Union Bank, which is being represented by Srikanth. And the State Bank of India, there is no transfer also, you know that, beyond the circle. Up to scale 4 level, it is not there. So this is the situation, it's prevailing in the industry, but Bank of Baroda has gone all the way against this year's transfer policy, for this transfer policy, 6 years transfer, not only for the directly recruited officers and promotee officers, but also for the people who have gone outside on longest stay ground or administrative ground. So our endeavors have always been to fight out this policy, but unfortunately the top management has not taken up the issue of policy change in the last 3 years, even though it was demanded very strongly by us and also echoed by other associations. So we had got the only option to address the transfer approach every year. Last year also we did so, and we had been successful in implementing the policy of 4 years for the people who came on longest stay basis or on administrative grounds. Similarly, this year also, well before the transfer plan was in place, we had given our first memorandum, which is 7 by 2022 by 7, which has also been circulated to all of you, highlighting certain aspects of the interzonal transfers. We demanded that for directly recruited officers and the promotee officers, it should be 4 years, not beyond 4 years. Why 4 years, I will tell you. Because most of the directly recruited officers or promotee officers in today's era are youngsters, and when they join the bank, they are not married, they have not started their family life, or even if they have started their family life, they have started just. And secondly, they have got family obligations like marriage of sisters, and so many other things. In the first 6 years, they have to remain from Kerala to at Gujarat or some other state, even Karnataka. It would be difficult to get their desires fulfilled, family obligations fulfilled. So this is the reason we have been demanding that it should be reduced to at least 4 years, if not 3. So we have been demanding, and we have demanded this years also for the before the transfer approach. Secondly, the persons who came on administrative ground, say for on promotion, because in earlier Australia, Vijay there was a policy of on promotion transfer. So many people came to a particular zone from other zones only because they were promoted. And there were other transfers also, administrative grounds, requirement of the zone, or so many other things. If they have to remain for another 6 years, it would be really another matter of pain. And last year, all of you were aware that Dena Bank, many people were there who were not getting their transfers for a period of almost 3 years. Because Dena Bank, because of the embargo put by RBI, no basic activity of banking and basic activities of HR was in place. So keeping all these things in mind, we demanded 4 years. This year also we told that it should be 4 years. Unfortunately, we told it is 3 years. Fortunately, this second demand has been acceded to, and they have reduced the retransfer from 6 years laid down in the policy to 4 years for the general officers. And yesterday there is a communication by virtue of which lady officers who have completed 3 years, they can go back. Of course, 5 years it is already there in the policy. There is nothing to be mentioned about that. Simply, they have made some eyewash mentioned it, management. But ladies, yes, at least some gain is there, even though our full demands are not fulfilled. So these are the areas we have emphasized. We have written 2 more letters on interzonal transfers because there was no policy for the chief managers. Even last year also, chief managers, there was no policy. So we told, when we made in person, myself, our chairman Varshniji, Kishore Katamji, and your working president Srinivasan, and Akhilesh Rai, the Secretary General, we all met during the last month, end of the month. And there we have very clearly told that the chief manager's policy should be there. Even if policy is there, not there, the transfer plan of chief managers, redeployment plan of chief managers should be put in place. And that demand has also been acceded to. And chief managers, this is the first time. Last time what they did is, they were informed only to the zonal HRs, and zonal HRs in turn had informed only to certain people of these are our choice, and not to all people. We told that it should be, the message should go to all chief managers, all eligible chief managers, and they should be given an option. And that option has also been taken, and it will take some more time to implement it, because all of you are aware that till yesterday there was modifications in scale 1, 2, 3. Another one thing is happening, while implementing, many are being debarred because of the reason, citing the reason that you did not apply in your last internal transfer opportunity last year. We told that it would be totally inhuman to debar certain people simply because they did not apply for the last year transfers. Because all of you are aware that this month of May and the earlier month of April in 2021 were very much crucial in everybody's life. Kerala, I did not emphasize that it was in the forefront of the coronavirus contagion. And everywhere it is widespread. And people were not in a position to take even their family decisions, whether they will be there in a particular area, location or not, or whether they will go to their native place or go to their earlier zone. All these decisions were secondary, became secondary because of the pandemic. So under the scenario, management should not debar a person, a directly recruited officer or a promoted officer, to go back simply because they did not apply last time. The same thing applies to retransfer of the people who came on longest stay in a particular zone from other zones. Because many of the people could not take their family decisions, and even management had deferred many of their decisions, showing the results of pandemic. So citing all this, we had written our third letter also to the management. I am preparing another one memorandum, because last memorandum, all of you are aware, that has also been circulated by circular number 6, for emphasizing that such type of debarment should not be there for either of the categories. And there are other issues also, because specialist officers, all the time they say that as specialist officers there is no policy. But incidentally, in the policy of the transfer, they have mentioned about the specialist officers. Specialist officers are also human beings, and many number of years after their recruitment in the bank, they have spent in a particular zone which is not a zone of their choice. And they have also got their requirement of fulfilling the family obligations, fulfilling their social obligations. So keeping all this in mind, we are planning to make one or two memorandums more on the issue of interzonal transfer. And if possible, for us once again for highlighting these issues. Of course, some of the verticals in case of specialist officers have already started the exercise and given their option, but not all verticals. So this is the scenario as regards the interzonal transfer is. With regard to another one area which is one of the concerns of the members, that the promotion in this bank is not happening in a very transparent manner. All of you are aware that with regard to promotion also, last time your Federation Central Committee had written several letters to management. Some of them had been acceded to, but not all. This year also, and we had highlighted our major demand for publishing the marks obtained in the online test. That has not been fulfilled. As per the policy of the Bank of Baroda, if you ask me, there is no such guideline that it can be published. It cannot be published immediately after the online test. But they are taking a stand that they are disclosing the online test after publication of the results. That means after publication of the name of the officers in the as promoting candidates. But unfortunately, from 0 to 1 to 6 to 7, there is no transparency at all. Personally, if you ask me, I strongly believe that 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, it should be very clearly pointed out that what is the marks obtained. And when, believe me or not, when the question was posed before this CGL, HR, he also did not have any answer. Our point is very simple, that if you let one officer knows what is the marks obtained by him or her in scale 2 to 3 promotion, then he or she will be taking his or her decision based on the marks obtained by him and vis-a-vis the competitor's marks. Unfortunately, that is not happening. Only at the end of the process, you are coming to know that you have got 71, or you have got 50, or you have got 66. And at that point of time, even if you make an appeal, there is no point in going ahead with your marks obtained. When you are just appeared the online test and got your marks, you can take your decision whether you should go for the interview in which way. I mean to say that if you have got good marks, fairly good marks compared to others, then definitely you will be trying your level best for the interview. And whereas if you have got only 50 marks, as against the highest marks of 77, definitely you will be thinking that this year, let me leave it. Because there are so many competitors between 50 and 77, so it may not be possible for me to get a part from scale 2 to 3. So naturally you will start preparing for the online test of the coming year. So this is the basic reason we wanted the management to keep the marks. But unfortunately it is not happening. Another one thing is not happening is All India merit list is not being published. You may be aware that in one of our states regarding recruitment, the court case is going on, and the concerned high court, single bench or division bench, they are giving the verdicts against the government for the simple reason that the government has not brought out the merit list at the time of recruitment. Yes, anybody is being recruited even from the bottom of the waiting list. And the High Court has taken on the concerned state government in a big way. And hopefully that those panels may be cancelled. Matter is sub judice. Of course, on our promotion issue, we have not gone to court. But perhaps, had people gone to the court would have given the verdict against the management. For the simple reason that merit list, All India merit list is not being published. Similar to the case of the state government, I refer. I am not naming. So this is the scenario. You know, I personally, on behalf of your mighty federation, filed RTI applications. 9 RTI applications have been filed by me. And those RTI applications were filed on 21st of April. You are aware that the management don't reply. The reply came on the 30th day, much to our expectation. That is on 20th April, 20th May, just before I left on 21st, yesterday, stating that this is personal information and it cannot be shared. The same thing will be happening even if I go for appeal, and definitely we will be, it is our duty and responsibility to file appeal to the first appellate authority and again also second appellate authority. But we are not very hopeful that the management will come out with the information I sought for. Basically, three kinds of information I sought for. One is online test marks with all India merit list. Second is James marks for all the people attended, for all the cadets. And third is the total of online test marks and the James marks and interview marks according to the weightage given. You know, 40, 40, 20 is the weightage for scale 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. And for 3 to 4 it is a bit different. 30, 30, 40, like that. 30, 40, 30. So this is the scenario. But let me tell you, unfortunately, the other organization, and so to say, the people who claim that they are the majority, they are for decades together, they don't have any say either in the promotion or in the transfer. That is the scenario. You might have observed, many of you, that some communication of the INVOC affiliated All India Bank of Baroda Officers Association addressed to their general secretaries regarding transfer, that they had a talk with the ED, CGM HR, head HR operations, and so, and they had a stress their demand for 3 years transfer for the longest stay people and 5 years policy for the directly recruited officers and promoted officers, and all other things you will be noticing that it is just copies of whatever arguments we had put. We had told Corona that Corona should, because of the Corona, people should not be dead. They have copied the same. We have told that clause number 4.1 of the transfer policy of 31 December 2020, that is not applicable for the DROs. We have copied the same. We have told that retransfer, debarring retransfer on the ground that they have not applied last time should not be there. They have copied the same. Then what is the contribution of this organization who call themselves mighty? It is totally zero. Totally zero. And for your information, this is the organization who agreed for this in the 2018 transfer policy. It is very clearly written in the 2018 transfer policy that they were part of it. They were part of it. Today they may. But you see the 2018 transfer policy and show who are the member of this association that this is a policy you had. Then what is the point in telling? What is the point in shedding crocodile tears today? It is your organization who demanded fair play at all levels. It is your organization, Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers of Associations. Wherever there is a atrocity, there is an abusive remark by any of the part of the management, we have come forward, be it at zonal level or be it at central level. At the end of the March, there were huge pressure on the officers community. And everybody was called almost everywhere to come on every Sundays, every second Saturday, every fourth Saturday, and they were made to sit up to 9 o'clock, 9:30, 11 o'clock and so on. We had given a strong memorandum to MD, citing many of the cases without, of course, not defaming anybody, But we cited the case very carefully. It was a joint endeavor by the central leadership, and we did not leave a single point of abuse. Of course, after that later, at many places, abuse has come down. But let me tell you that this will not be eradicated. If you are not strong enough to say no to an unreasonable decision by your management, be it branch head or be it regional head or TRM or deputy zonal head or zonal head, believe me, today if you are not in a position to say no, tomorrow it will come to you in a multiplied manner. In a multiplied manner. Today they may be calling you only on second Saturday. Tomorrow they will be calling you on all the second and fourth Saturdays and Sundays. Before coming, we had a talk with our regional head, my regional head, particularly at Bangalore Central, who denied this compensatory of for this 2,000 rupees, which is there very much in the Bank of Baroda policy, to the officers who came on second Saturdays and fourth Saturdays during the entire April month. And finally, even though he was not agreeable, he agreed to pass the necessary order for giving. So I am telling you that not only for the monetary demand is secondary. First, you have to see whether there is reasonableness in calling it. If there is no reasonable ground, you should say no. You should inform to your regional secretary or the regional office bearers, and they in turn should represent to the regional authority the reason for which you are calling on a Sunday. It is not acceptable. And if that does not click, then you have to refer the matter to zonal secretary. And every regional level, I remind you, whenever you are writing a regional level letter, obviously there should be a marking of copy to the district committee of AIGOC. And that should be there in the front. I mean the copy which you are giving to your regional head. Believe me, in 80% cases the matter will be dropped then and there itself. And if it does not, then you will have to bring it to the notice of the zonal secretary, and zonal level you will have to give the letter. All the 4 regional bodies are in place in Ernakulam zone. So I don't think that there should be a problem on this ground. Any member, first of all, they should try to understand what I am telling. At your level, you should say no. Even if it is branch head and it is not a reasonable ground, you have to say no. There is nothing wrong in saying no to unreasonable requests or orders of the management. And trade union is duty bound to take up your case, and our federation at all levels, I am very sure that they will be taking up. Unfortunately, this culture was totally absent in Bank of Baroda prior to 2019. That is the reason management has taken upper hand. You just imagine, 6 years transfer policy, the entire 12 public sector banks, only one bank, how it is? Because there was no union association, particularly invoke affiliated organization, I will tell, they had got no say to any unreasonable order of the management. And they simply signed or agreed on the dotted line. Now, how I will believe that you had opposed in 2018? Can you cite a letter addressed to general manager at least? No, you can frame a letter and show. But how I will believe? I will believe only when it is sealed by the office of the general manager that you had served a memorandum opposing to the 6 years policy, and that letter was accepted by the management. No such letter has been shown by both leaders in any of the social media fora anywhere. This is the way they were running the organization. See, all of you are aware, they were even not bothered to show their membership also. I don't know for what reason. But all these have made the management strong and the unions weak. So there is an announcement because our Srinath will have to leave because he has to catch a flight. He's going to Mumbai for some negotiation at bank level. So he has to catch a flight. So you need to go to house and then get prepared and go for this one. I am very sure that he will be successful in his endeavors, whatever his stand in Mumbai. And he is always a strong support. Let me share with you. He is of course very quite near to me, but a very mature leader from the very beginning. I have been knowing him for past few years. He is very strong in social media today. He has proved also by making many of you members of the movement of Bank Bachao Desh Bachao, which in fact one of the endeavors made by Srinath. They have made a short film on this issue also. And let me share that Dhanalakshmi Bank also, which is also from Kerala, they have also made a good film on the privatization issue. And all these issues, they are taking up it very seriously. And today morning only during the coffee time discussion with me, he has assured me that any kind of forum we are organizing for leadership or whatever it is, he will be definitely in touch with us and he will be making us, giving us his valuable time and sharing his thoughts for the development of the organization of AIBOC in Bangalore. A great thanks to Srinathji and his able leadership and the entire for representing the Confederation in our forum today, this morning, yesterday onwards, he has been attending to mixing with our people. All the way coming from Bangalore, he went to Bangalore for attending a defense case. And I am very sure that in the days to come, he will be a tall leader of the not only Kerala, but the entire country of the Confederation. We will give a standing ovation to Srinath. Let us give a standing ovation to Srinath.
ചങ്ക് പൊട്ടുന്നുണ്ടല്ലേ കാണുന്നുണ്ടാവും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ
So we have got the constraint of paucity of time. I think I have covered all the major issues, particularly relating to our bank, mainly the transfer and promotion. And I have got some 2-3 more issues which I wanted to share with you. Coming to the issue Srinathji was referring throughout his speech, privatization. That is one of the things being confronted by almost every banker in the country, in different manner even though. In case of private sector banks, who are part of the, particularly who are part of the industry-wide bipartite settlement of the joint notes, in the last few years we have been observing that there are huge atrocities on them, particularly Catholic Syrian Bank, Dhanlaxmi Bank and others. Many of these banks are hailing from Kerala. And AIBOC considers, let me tell you, that Confederation considers these private sector banks as a major working force of the organization. And we have got the moral destiny, duty and responsibility to stand beside their movement and fighting for the right cause to the end. You should be aware that their major demand is not for their salary division or wage division. Their major demand is that these banks also to be nationalized. Unfortunately, the government, whichsoever the government is, they are in the mood of denationalizing the public sector banks and also making the private sector banks almost similar to new generation private sector banks like ICICI and HDFC. Srinath has narrated how the public money is being looted out by the top brass of the ICICI Bank. You all are aware that one of the long time ICICI Bank MDs are facing the legal and other actions because of the fraud, I will say, frauds undertaken by her as well as her family members and colleagues. In case of Catholic Syrian Bank also you have seen the way they are trying to run the workforce. Their major attempt is to employ workforce on contract basis and minimize the number of bipartite settlement recruitments. I mean to say that number of officers and employees coming under the settlement is dwindling and the number of officers in the contract hire and fire method is increasing. This is the general trend. In case of this old generation private sector banks. In case of public sector, Srinath has rightly pointed out that our bank is almost a private sector bank with a public sector attack. All of you are knowing that many of the jobs are outsourced, where the officers and the executives of the bank don't have any control. This is a major point which you should always keep it in mind. Almost all of you have joined the bank when the bank was already nationalized. So you have got a reason for joining the bank, that it is a public sector bank. Today the very public sector character is taken away. Then where you and me would land up? We will be landing up in a scenario where the ICICI Bank or the HDFC Bank is in place. Because you have to do certain things which has got nothing to do with the social banking, nothing to do with the nation building and nothing to do with fulfilling your desire of your parents, desire of your family, that you are a part of the government employees. Even though you are not fully government. But still, the government attire is there. If the very thing is taken out from you, you know, one of the major decisions of the central government is to privatize 2 public sector banks. Till today, even after announcement of more than 1 year back, we are yet to know which are the 2 private sector banks, which are the 2 public sector banks they are going to privatize. But let me remind you that your bank has got all qualities or lack of qualities which a private sector bank should have. So you should keep it in mind that it could be your bank also. All your movement, all your agitations should keep this in mind, that you are also vulnerable to become privatized. Even if thereafter union is there, but your very desires which you wanted to fulfill or inculcate in your entire career will not be there any longer in case the very private sector element, public sector element is taken out from you. Unfortunately, the government is doing all these things because of many reasons, because of their obligations towards IMF and World Bank, and also because of earning by way of selling out their stake in the government sector. You know, the reason for recent opening up of LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India, to the public is not because that LIC was dying. Rather, LIC was a vibrant organization. It was giving dividend every year to the government. But they wanted the LIC to be, for stake of a portion of the LIC, to sell out for the reason of getting more purpose of funds. Unfortunately, it has been happening, and be it at Dhanalakshmi Bank or be it at CSP or LIC or wherever, we have got the moral responsibility as a trade union of the public sector bank to fight out it. And be there with the fight of the other banks and other institutions, side by side. Because in case you do not do that, tomorrow in your fight against privatization, you will not get them also besides you. This is the very reason we should be fighting it from our within. See, let me tell you that in the recent bipartite settlement, they have included one performance linked pay. All of you are thinking what should be the performance linked pay, what would be our several WhatsApp messages in our groups. It is going on. It was being spread. Tell me, what is the performance linked pay? You should be aware that it was not a demand of AIPOC or the organization's trade unions at the time of the last bipartite settlement, when we submitted our charter of demand. We rather opposed this performance linked pay. The very reason the last bipartite was delayed, that the government and the IPA combined wanted that scale 4 to 7, totally it should be performance linked. We opposed to it. We told that from very beginning of the bipartite settlement, very beginning of the joint negotiation, we have been negotiating for not only scale 1, 2, 3 or the clerical and substaff, trade unions, organizations in the banks, irrespective of whether they are members or not of the organization, we have been doing all this very seriously for scale 4 to 7 also. And under any circumstances, we do not want to government keep the final say about the pay and practices of the scale 4 to 7. This is the very reason we oppose to it. And it took several months. Even AIBOC came out of the negotiation, AIBOC leadership, for the reason that 6 of the banks, including Bank of Baroda, was not giving their mandate. We told universal mandate should be there for all the banks. Then only we are going to sign the bipartite settlement. And ultimately the government, finance secretary, he has to intervene. Minister had to intervene through finance secretary, DFS secretary. Then only all the 6 banks had given the mandate. You know, when we made Mr. Jaikumar last MD, he told that I am not going to sign the mandate for scale 4 to 7. Because I don't want my scale 5, scale 6 to get similar salary to that of a Grameen man. So this is the mentality of the top brass of the management, including our management. But ultimately they had to bow down because all of you shouldered the responsibility for fighting the cause, and you went for a one-day strike independently organized by AIBOC. Apart from many strikes called by UFU, many educational programs, you had independently also organized a strike. So this is why the government has come down. Of course, it took some time for us to get the negotiation done. It happened only on 11/11/2020. But all of you should be taking pride that it is because of your education, it is because of your participation, because of your contribution, because of your taking part in the strike, this has been kept alive. Negotiation has been done, completed. But this negotiation, coming back to performance link, the government, IBA combined, without demand, they paid us this performance link. Am I to believe that they are giving just as gratis? No. They are giving this in order to show that this is the way to the future. If the performance link pay today, which is called 5% or whatever it is, 15% or whatever, according to your performance, tomorrow it may take a front runner of your entire wage package. If that be the case, today you are not finding because it is only 5% and 15%. Tomorrow it is a huge percentage of your wage package. Then what will happen? If you are a non-performer, according to the yardstick of the IPA or yardstick of your balance sheet, then you will be getting less salary compared to many other public sector banks, even though the public sector character will be there. So you should not rejoice about what your performance link pay is, be it 5% or be it 10% or 15%. Because it was not a desire of ours, it was not in our chart of demand. We rather demanded that there should not be linked with performance for all the cadres. So this is just to remind you. Of course, you are part of many battles. In fact, the battle of CSB also it has been done in a big way by all Kerala comrades. My kudos to all of you for taking part in that movement, and definitely in the days to come, you will remember that we have to be as vibrant as any other unit of any other affiliate is, and we are not small, and even if we are small, we have got the quality which the other associations, organizations do not have. I strongly believe that Ernakulam zone, by way of holding today's general body meeting will not only strengthening themselves in the business session by forming their new zonal committee, but also show the path to the entire country, all the other 70 zonal units who are out of which 15 are yet to hold their zonal conferences, that the way the zonal conferences should be held and the organization to be taken forward. My sincere thanks to all of you that in spite of it is a rainy day and in spite of it is very hot outside, you have come all the way from many other districts, from almost all the districts representations are there, and you have been staying here for the last, many of you are staying here, and those who are in Ernakulam at the nearby places also come all the way in spite of their busy schedule on this Sunday, and also because of the rainy day there were so many obstacles. Still you have come to make it a success. Once again my sincere thanks and kudos to you, and I wish all the very best in all your endeavors, in all your struggles against the management and for the betterment of the organization of our Bank of Baroda. Thank you to all of you, and once again, Federation of Bank of Baroda Officers Association Zindabad. AIDOC Zindabad. AIDOC long lead. Long lead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. As a token of our love and affection, we would like to gift Taprasda also memento. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we have some of them here today who have been instrumental to our organization's journey, who have been our guiding stars, and who had made the task of running the organization look so smooth as they silently and effortlessly managed this mammoth task. We are privileged to have with us today Comrade Vinu Mohan, District Secretary, Arbog, Ernakulam. Sir, I invite you for the felicitation.
Respected leaders of the dais, I am restricting my salutations as the time is as told. It's taken a very, very short time remaining. Respected leaders of the dais and the leaders from various regions, the delegates and the observers in this meeting today, a warm good afternoon to all. First of all, I express my sincere gratitude to the leaders of Boboa Ernakulam for giving me this opportunity to attend the first general body meeting of Boboa Ernakulam and to address this august gathering. I know myself I am angry, so I know that you also will be angry. So I will restrict my speech to 5 to 10 minutes and I will make way to the other speakers. We are going through a very turbulent time in the banking industry nowadays. See, bank privatization is the greatest terror we are facing. And being the third largest public sector in the bank in the country, Bank of Baroda has a great role to play in the coming days. As you know, see, during the merger, the situation how it was in Bank of Baroda, yes, because it was a very odd thing to know that the majority union that was in Boboa, in Bank of Baroda, they had a racial membership of maybe I think 1,500 or 2,000, while the total strength in Bank of Baroda was almost 20,000 and above. So that is how INBOC has been functioning in Bank of Baroda till the time of merger. See, once IBOC came into the picture, once BOA, that's Vijay Bank and the other banks, when they came into the forefront during the merger, that's the time only INBOC actually tried to do something so that they show a color of a trade union in the bank. So the way INBOC has functioned during the last all these years, that has seriously affected the HR culture and also the way the things are done in Bank of Baroda. Like our State Secretary had earlier said, I think it's the right code. Actually, it's like a private bank in the court of a public sector bank. So there is a lot of things to be done because in the beginning, if you remember, one of the banks that was being quoted that is going to be privatized in the first was Bank of Baroda in the beginning when bank privatization was being pitched by the central government. But later what happened? Now we are hearing that Central Bank of India and Indian Overseas Bank are the banks that are going to be privatized first. See, because of the election and because of the struggle we have been undergoing or we have been taking up, we were able to restrict the privatization move during the December meeting we had in Lok Sabha. We were able to postpone the tabling of the bill. But it is sure that it is still a threat to the public sector. We see what is happening in the public sector industry and also the public sector banks. So that's a great that what is looming, and Bank of Baroda, being the third largest bank in the country, has a big role to play in the coming days. So, as you know, in what I understand is in Kerala, there is almost some equal membership we have in BOB and INBOC. Almost, I think, more than 450 are members in INBOC and almost the same are members in INBOC. And see, the fight should start there actually, because what we know, normally what we hear is that in all banks, if you take State Bank of India, from State Bank of India, if you take any bank, Union Bank, if you take any of the public sector banks, normally what we see is that the Kerala State unit will be one of the most militant units we have in the bank. So we expect that also from the BOB unit, that's the BOB around also. See, you know, at the time of merger, there was a lot of entity transfers that were happening in Bank of Baroda against the people who have come from the other banks and the other unions. And we had a demonstration, if you remember. Many of you would have participated in the demonstration we had in the zonal office. So that was the first time the management actually saw the strength of the actual trade union. Because they were in both, and that time we were able to demonstrate the strength of ABO in front of the top management in the office. And once that demonstration happened, you would have that entire corridor was filled with officers from various bank unions of ABO. Once that demonstration happened, the attitude of management has changed. That's what I came to understand from your leaders. So that is the strength of IBO. You should understand, IBO is one of the largest workforce in the banking industry. We have more than 3 lakh membership. That is the strength we have. 10 lakh employees we have in the public sector banking industry, and more than 3 lakh employees are members of ABO. The strength of ABO, that is what we have to market. That is the strength we have to build in your bank also, in your store also. There is a lot of task laying ahead of you, and being your zonal office being in Ernakulam district, the greater support has to be given by the ABO Ernakulam district, and being the district secretary, on behalf of the Ernakulam district ABO unit, I promise all the support we can give. We have been giving all the support to the trade union unit we have been undergoing, we have been taking up in Bank of Baroda, and in the coming days we expect that we will be able to bring more members into the forefront of BOA and also. I know that there are so many things that are very negative that is happening in Bank of Baroda, that is happening in your zone also maybe. One of the things I find very odd is that the transfers. I have heard that the transfers happen throughout the year. So that's a very wrong policy, that has to be changed. So that is one thing. Next, what I came to know is that the harsh language is used by the controllers, maybe in some of the regions. So these kind of things, actually we should instill that confidence in our members. Actually, once we instill that confidence that if a controller speaks to you in a bad language or uses some bad words against you or abuses you, you should give the courage to the members that you will stand in front of them and will face the controllers and give them the courage so that these kind of things don't repeat in your bank. So in that, the whatever has happened in that Bank of Baroda, that lady that our state secretary have also mentioned, that is a very important thing. We have to win that fight. That is still ongoing, I believe. So that is a very core issue that came into the forefront during the court times, and still that I believe that disciplinary proceedings are still continuing. That if we win that case, that gives a big boost to your movement. So let's make sure that that lady gets the justice. It has been almost I think 1.5 years, right? 1.5 years that case is still continuing. So that kind of confidence you have to give to members that if they face the controllers, you can give that courage and you can give them the confidence that you will be with them in whatever adversity they are facing. So once again, thanks for the opportunity. Since there is very less time, I will be concluding my speech. As I said, we promise all our support. Let's move forward and make this BOBA the biggest trade union in Bank of Baroda in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are glad to present you with the memento. In Greek mythology, Atlas was destined to hold up the heavens for eternity. Atlas was strong, sincere, stout-hearted, and resilient. Likewise, our veterans have been holding up the organization with their integrity, care, and congeniality. A tribute to the veterans who have dedicated their life to the welfare and upliftment of this organization. When they sing their swan song today, we would like to recollect with gratitude their selfless dedication to this union. Friends, let's honor these mighty warriors who are retiring from their services after many decades of glorious and successful work life. I invite our General Secretary, Tapas Kumar sir, to honor our AGM who is retiring this month, Suresh sir.
നിന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് സാധാരണ അതായിക്കോട്ടെ നോ പ്രോബ്ലം സാധാരണ നിന്നിട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ട് അടുത്തു പ്ലീസ് സാറേ
Rajan sir, Chief Manager, has already retired on 6th May 2022.
Please come closer.
Raju sir, Chief Manager, who is retiring on 31st of July 2022. Gopi Krishnan sir, Senior Manager, retiring on 31st July 2022. Balakrishnan sir, Manager, retiring on 31st May 2022. Due to time constraints, we are cutting short of our function. And I now invite Mithun E, who is the Vice President of our zone.